And speaking of sports championships, I got an interesting email from Gabby Carlson, and she said, "Hey, David, like you, I've been closely following the Boston Red Sox in the World Series this fall, and I'm, of course, rooting for them. But since I'm a statistics nerd on certain things, I got into talking to a few friends last night about where the most successful teams are from and how it relates to politics. Professional sports have long politicized the U.S. I crunched the numbers and got some interesting results. In the last 10 championship titles since 2004, in the four major sports, basketball, football, hockey, and baseball, the results are like this. In the NBA, 6 out of 10 were blue states, with 13 out of 20 participants in the finals from blue states. NFL, 9 out of 10 Super Bowls for blue states, 17 out of 20 participants from blue states. NHL, 7 out of 9 Stanley Cup winners, 12 out of 18 participants. And baseball, 7 out of 9 World Series and 12 of 18 participants. This is a 75 roughly percent win rate and participation rate nationally for teams from blue states. And then Gabby goes on to ask, is there some correlation here between states with progressive legislatures focusing on infrastructure, healthcare, education, which help the middle class, which then makes it so people can spend more of their income going to sports and things like that? I've thought about this. I'm not too sure. On a lot of sports, there is kind of a socialist system of sharing ticket sales across all teams, regardless of whether your team makes more or less from ticket sales. We have to consider championships per population. Are we analyzing these numbers per capita? I think it's a fascinating thing that Gabby is talking about, Lewis, but we need a much more detailed analysis to be able to make any kind of broad statement.
Yeah, I think it would be very hard to pinpoint, but I would also be very curious about how much money is going into sports teams when it comes to red versus blue states, because you would assume that the red states are the ones dumping as much money as possible into sports teams, but it seems like in some cases it's the opposite.
Well, and then are you talking about structurally or in terms of payrolls? Because as we know, the Red Sox and Yankees have very high payrolls, but that's different from structural. There's a lot of things. Very interesting, though, so thanks to Gabby.